Welcome back. I'm Jacqueline Boyd with the Care Plan, and it's wonderful to have you joining me today. Happy New Year! If you're watching this and the year no longer feels new, don't worry, you're still in the right place, and hopefully these tips will still be relevant to you. I like to think of the new year as a time for personal recommitment and reflection. I don't know about you, but as an aging life care manager, I work with people and families who may be in crisis, trying to care for a loved one, or individuals who are aging, missing their friends around the holidays, just struggling at this time of year. But the new year is always a chance to reconnect to what we really care about, to look ahead. And regardless of what's happened this year, what we've carried throughout the year reminds us that we each have the opportunity to claim our goals and claim our lives anew. One of the most important elements of being successful as a caregiver or as a person who wants to be in control of your aging is self-care. I talk a lot about how caregiving is a marathon. Well, self-care is the restoration that helps you finish the marathon. Training for a marathon doesn't mean you walk out your front door and you run 26 miles every day. You practice, you build up your endurance, you take rests. And that's what self-care is about, taking those rests. Here's 5 tips for self-care in the new year. The first is routine, routine, routine. I know that may sound boring, but if you're a caregiver, your life will be made much easier by having a daily or a weekly routine with your care recipient. It's going to help decrease the anxiety of figuring out what to do in the moment and help you feel more in control. So even though that may seem like, oh, do I want to build a routine or how am I going to figure out what to do? I promise that once you take the time to invest in yourself and your loved one and actually have a daily and weekly routine, it's going to help you feel much less stressed. Our second tip is to schedule time off. Just like you schedule doctor's appointments or time to pay your bills, time off for rest and self-care should be a priority. For caregivers, we are often the last people to make the list, right? You're just trying to get everything done. But scheduling time will help remind you of what you need to do. For an example, in my own life, I went about 3 years without taking a real vacation. I'd catch a day here or 2 or 3 days there. And while I felt better at the end of them, I never really got a chance to fully relax and rest and come back stronger. And so this year, that was one of my commitments to myself, was that I was going to start taking real vacations where I unplugged from the phone, from email. And it took about 3 days into the vacation before I actually felt at peace and felt relaxed. And guess what? I came back, I was stronger, I was more prepared to care and in a better headspace. And I know that that can work for you too. Just scheduling time for yourself, even if it feels hard, and building that support for your loved one is going to make a difference in the long run. Our third tip is to identify where you need help. What stressed you out in the last year? What are you doing that could be delegated to free up your time? What are you clinging on to out of a sense of responsibility, anxiety, or control? We get in our own way as caregivers, and the new year is a time to adjust and create healthier habits. Our fourth tip is to make a plan. You know you're with a care plan, so that's always going to be one of our recommendations. Once you know where you need help, you've identified it, it's time to figure out how to make that happen. Finding resources can be an overwhelming roadblock. If that's your situation, call us. We're happy to help. We can help with connecting you to trusted providers, the planning process for you or a loved one, and help relieve you of the stress that you're under. If you're feeling like, oh my gosh, how am I supposed to choose a senior housing option for my parent that won't even talk to me about it? We can walk you through that process. Likewise, if you're aging and you feel like you're alone, or if you're marginalized because you're LGBTQ+, English second language, or worried just because you don't think you have enough money to live the way you'd like to live as you age, we can help with all of those issues. So just give us a call and reach out. You're not alone in this process. And our fifth tip is to notice the positive. I know that might sound It might sound not as helpful to you, but the reality is that as caregivers, we don't always hear thank yous. If you felt worn down by a lack of appreciation, we can make a huge difference by reminding ourselves of what is going well, of how awesome and needed we are, and what we're grateful for. One of the suggestions that caregivers have shared with me is keeping a gratitude journal that you write in a couple times a week, just to remind yourself what you're grateful for, what's gone well. And I like a process for myself that I do, which is in the morning when I wake up, I have to think about 5 things that I am appreciative of before I get out of bed. And that helps start my day on the right foot, even if I went to bed upset about something. So on the good days, I do that at night too, but you might not have time for all of that. So in summation, make sure that you're prioritizing yourself in the new year. Focus on self-care. There is only one you, and if you're not doing well, your loved one isn't doing well. So thank you for watching. We hope to see much more of you this year, and thanks for your support of the Care Plan. Take good care.